diggers, even bigger diggers, and dumpsters, and fellas in hard hats. Welcome back to Stavely. It's all go again on the Chesterfield Canal restoration. Can you believe it's been a whole year since this bridge that we're stood on right now was lifted into position? A whole year. That's just, I find that hard to get my head around, that it has been a whole year. It doesn't seem 2 minutes. So I've come back today to give you just a quick update on what's going on, because there is stuff now happening. We'll have a walk around and just show you what it looks like, you know, what they're cracking on with at the moment. It was July the last time I gave you an update. We was in the midst of a heat wave. We're now in the middle of October and it's one of those dirty, damp, drizzly, dull days today. I mean, that's not to say that in that year that nothing's been happening. There's been lots going on behind the scenes down here. Not a lot I can tell you, pure for the fact that I don't really know much about what's been going off, but I have heard rumours of some things that have been causing some delays, but that's all I can really tell you. You would have heard the noises of machinery in the background there, and that's because O'Brien's, after their successful partnership in doing the last phase of the canal and getting this bridge into position, they've been successful in winning the tender for this next phase. And what they're actually doing, I have got more questions than I've actually got answers for you today. But hopefully we'll get more of an idea as we see the works progress over the coming months. They're cracking on with constructing that new canal cutting just from there where it ends, just near the bridge there, underneath the new bridge, and just as far as Bellhouse Basin, just over there. Obviously we've got the construction of the canal and the towpath and all the surrounding earthworks and landscaping. We've also got the new Keith Ayling Lock that's pretty much looking right over where that lock's going to be, just down there. And we've also got renewal of the footpath that follows the old canal alignment all the way to Renishore as well. I believe that they're covering that as part of this phase of works as well. What it looks like they're doing at the moment is they're just moving the big pile of earth that's just over there, and they're taking it in the dumpster trucks down there, and they're depositing it around the site of the Bellhouse Basin. Somebody told me the other day what they're doing is they're actually building the level of the ground back up to what it was before, like mining subsidence, whichever way you say it. And look, you'll see the footpath's closed now, and I think that's going to be closed until next summer now. But obviously this is where they're taking the canal through, straight under the bridge. And we'll be looking, just here, we'll be looking over the new lock that's going to be going in. I've just said they're moving that pile of earth there, look, that big banking. That's the banking that we stood on and watched them put the bridge in last year. That's where I filmed from, over there. Yeah, and they're taking it down underneath the bridge through to over there. We'll have a walk around there. We'll show you the temporary footpath diversion, etc., and have a look at what they're doing around there in a short while. And they've been clearing around. Look, that's the bridge abutment there, because we had that old railway line coming through here. That was the line from Clown or Bolsover through Seymour out towards Barrow, wasn't it? That was the railway line just crossing over here. Look, and the canal, that's the bridge of the canal that went under the railway line. Are they keeping those as bridge abutments, or are they going to be demolishing them? I don't know the answer to that. Personally, I'd like to see those, you know, remain in place. The canal passed through there, but I don't know how that would impact the plans. We'll see. And while I'm here, I suppose we just better pay a visit to the Stavely waterside and the new building. Nothing to report really. No signs of any changes since our last visit. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything. I'm probably actually not allowed to say anything, so I won't say anything. But there is some exciting news coming for this spot of land where we're stood here next summer. And that is all I will say. So at this moment in time, this is the end of the navigable section for the western part of the Chesterfield Canal, the 6 miles from Chesterfield. So we're literally taking it right as far up as is physically possible here. Look, the banking there. How many times have I stood on that piece of earth at the end of the water saying this is the end of the navigable canal? Oop, disturbed some ducks, and there we go. That is the end of the canal. We can go no further. I think we're trying to carve out a route of the canal ourselves here. But obviously at the end of this phase we're going to be going, what, it's not far, is it? What is it, a couple of 100 metres down to Bellhouse Basin from here? But what we're talking completion dates for this. Now they've given a completion of this project for next summer, for July to be specific. Now, as we know, these things on projects like this, there is kind of things beyond people's control that do drag out those deadlines. But that's what's been given at the moment. So obviously, as we've seen, you can't walk underneath the bridge anymore, follow the line of where the canal is going to be. So let's just have a look. Come on, Gordo. Let's have a look at the temporary footpath diversion. He knows the way. Wait. He's always in a hurry to get somewhere. So here we go, look, slaloming down the side of the banking. So it's quite a drop it does in a short space of time here. And here we are, look, it just comes out on the side of the original path, look. So that's where they're going to be building that canal through there. And then the path just bends away just to the right hand side here, and it just goes behind the Chesterfield Canal Trust compound. And on to Bellhouse Lane. So this is the site of the basin where they're constructing now. I think this is the bit that I'm most intrigued to see how it progresses. Look, they've got stakes in the ground over there. So they're mapping out some area where they're excavating the basin. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing what develops here now. So they are, aren't they? They are. This is where they're fetching the earth. So they're building it up, look. See the little mounds that they're making? Now, the route of the canal eventually, look, I don't know if you can see where the guy with the high-vis is on, just over there. That'll be the route of the canal that's going onto the puddle bank. And you can see the steel fencing, look, just going all the way around the perimeter of the compound and the basin, look, and then it just ends back up there where it spits you out back onto the puddle bank. It's hard to believe that this was that little area where they was doing the archaeological dig just last year, well, just under a year ago. So the basin was just around about here, wasn't it, where they did the dig, where they exposed all that stonework. I don't know if that's still in the plans. I don't know if I know it was mentioned that they were going to try and reuse that. Whether or not it's sunk too much, who knows. Yeah, we'll keep a close eye on that as well. That's what those stakes are for, isn't it? That's just marking out, look. I can see the stonework there, look. They've uncovered some of the stonework. Just to finish off today's video, I've just come down to Tapton Lock, the Tapton Lock Visitor Centre. I reported on my last video in July, this place used to be run by Derbyshire County Council. Was it Derbyshire County Council? It was run by the council anyway. Unfortunately, they had to close it. It's, well, you know, council's cost cutting, etc. But it was taken over by the Chesterfield Canal Trust in July, and they're running the visitor centre and the cafe at the moment. Oh yeah, it still says Derbyshire County Council, look on the top. Oh yes, lovely. I'm happy to report that it is open every day of the week now. Look who's on the telly. I didn't even realise when I walked in. It's me. Yeah, so come and pay a visit if you're down here. Lovely, friendly staff. But anyway, thanks for watching this update video. I'm quite excited now to see what the next few months brings. I'll keep putting these videos out now that we've actually got something happening on the ground up at Stavely. So thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Ta-ra.